Now, how do you monetize trivia apps? Well, very similarly to the games we have been talking about. For ads, you should definitely put an ad banner at the bottom and one or two pop-up ads like we talked about. One should appear around 2 seconds after the app is launched, or if you could use two, one pops up when the app first opens and the other one around 2 seconds after the first ad is closed. I don't know, you decide. But for in-app purchases, you should include the option to remove ads. Again, I recommend doing it for around $2. Now, the most profitable thing about these apps, by far, is consumables. If you do them well, they can give you a lot of money. The way you do them is you give your user a certain amount of points when they download the app. Let's say they start with 15 points. Then every time they get a question right, they get a point. Every time they get it wrong, they lose a point. And if they don't know the word, they can spend 2 points and get either a hint, or you can fill in some letters in the word, or you can just give them the entire word. When they get to 0 points or coins, they can't keep playing unless they buy more. Now, the tricky part here is that you need to engage the user first, because if they lose too quickly, they will just not be interested and they will get annoyed and they will just delete your app. So start with relatively easy questions and then start making them harder and harder until you get to basically impossible. What I personally do is give the user between 50 and 75 points and just work in multiples of 5, simply because I personally like it that way. But I can give them maybe 150 points or 100 points and work in multiples of 10, or just give them 15 or 10 points and work in multiples of 1. I then give the user 5 points for every question they get right, and I celebrate it with complimenting comments. For example, if it was a Katy Perry trivia app, I would have like 10 different phrases that say, "Hey, you do know a lot about Katy Perry, that's impressive," or "Great job, Katy Perry would be proud." I don't know, when they guess the wrong word, I take 5 points away and have a message saying like, "Oops," or something. If they don't know the word, I just give them help. I show them half of the remaining letters in the word, and this costs 10 points or coins. I also have bundles of 30 points for $1, 80 points for $2, 150 points for $3, 300 points for $5, and 1,000 points for $10. Now, when the user loses, I try to, hit them in their pride, like in order to maybe push them to buy more points, so they can keep playing and prove me wrong. So for example, when they run out of points, I would say something like, "Oh no, I thought you were a real Katy Perry fan. You were close though," or something. Remember that you want the user engaged so they can buy more points. If you can think of unlockable content, you can put a non-consumable. Something like, "Are you a true fan? Unlock 60 expert questions for $3, for example. Definitely do it. Just keep it simple. Finally, a very good strategy to keep the user engaged would be to give them points every day simply for opening the app, like we saw earlier in the section. You can send push notifications every morning saying something like, "Hey, you have 10 extra points. Why don't you come back and play again?" Remember to flirt with the user. Have them come back to you. Make it easy for them at first, and once they are comfortable, start hitting them where it hurts, in their pride. They will spend money to prove you wrong. I have done it myself. It sucks, but when you're trying to prove something, you may be willing to do some unreasonable things, for lack of a better word.